Alright, what's going on YouTube? Mr.Yo versus TaToH, a big quarterfinals in Collection Cup over here. We are about 50 minutes behind compared to the players because the previous set was delayed. So this will partially go from recorded games. But we hope that we can catch up with the players as they are playing live. We're going to start straight from the first game. I'm not going to detail the draft that much because I really want to catch up with the games in this one. So we're gonna jump into the first game over here. Welcome to Arabia. TaToH is gonna be playing Hans on the right side as red. Left side is gonna be Mr.Yo as Chinese in blue. He's gonna channel the power of having his own nation as his civilization. Chinese versus Hans, good old-fashioned matchup over here. Chinese is probably the better eco-civilization, but both of these civs are super versatile in terms of unit composition, so it's going to be interesting to see how these two civs will match up against each other over here. Looking at the base of TaToH, we're gonna have a fairly vulnerable base, although without houses it's a little bit more challenging, but he's got a nice gold mine here. This gold mine is also nice, a lot of wood lines to work with, so I think that this is a map that he has to be satisfied with. He's got the two stone mines further away from each other, which is always nice against Mr.Yo, who sometimes goes for towers. So having your resources spread out like that is actually pretty nice here for TaToH. Other side for Mr.Yo, his primary gold is pretty exposed. Gold at the back is not so nice. And the stone is also pretty underwhelming in this one. But in general, it's a very well defendable base as well for Mr.Yo. Depends on how he plans to roll this one. So, save gold top left on the map? I guess so. I guess it is safe. This one is also pretty safe. So, this primary gold is not that big of an importance at the beginning for Mr.Yo here. He can just vault off, ideally here, then wall here. You can wall in between this house and the wood line here. And then you can just give up on this gold mine for now and TC that later on. When you have two gold mines like this one, you should be all good. Although, you have to walk a lot more to get this gold than this one. So, oftentimes players end up just taking this gold because they are like, this gold is closer, so I'm just gonna grab it and then later move to this one. Anyways, TaToH is coming up with his own scout over here. He's free on wood, but he's Hans, so he might actually go for a tight archer build. We'll have to see about that. Whereas on the other side, we see 4 on wood for Mr.Yo, so he's got something on his mind. Maybe men-at-arms archers could make some sense for him. Maybe even a Drosh fast castle could be an idea. He already has the mill foundation placed, so it's not going to be a pre-mill Drosh, and it looks like he was gonna roll like this, which is awkward, especially knowing that this wood line is over here. But it seems like he feels that this wood line is too far away for Vol's purposes. So, as things stand, TaToH's gonna stay with 3 on wood, as he's gonna find a bit of an information about the wood line of the opponent. Hey Artie, hello there. It looks like everybody has found their own sheep, and the deer have been pushed in, at least 1 or 2 from Mr.Yo, and TaToH seems like he pushed in 1 at maximum. Depends whether or not you started with 3 or 4, but we didn't really have a huge amount of deer pushing here for either of these players, and to be honest. So, for now, it seems like Yo is playing a pretty peaceful Dark Age, no sign of a barracks, so a Drosh is no longer on the table. And TaToH's gonna play good old-fashioned 20-pop scouts over here. Probably going for a barracks here and then stable here or so to have this one partially walled in here. Whereas for Mr.Yo, he's actually dropping a farm early on, which is a little bit weird and sort of unconventional. Especially if he's going for a fast feudal play. And he's going for a fast feudal. Now, I don't blame him for this one because Chinese have longer lasting farms anyways, so if there is any civilization that can afford to do this one in Dark Age and not suffer from that much deficit, thanks to the lack of horse color, then it's Chinese, so it's still all good for Yo here, no problems with that. Yo is definitely having a bit of a problems with wood lines though. You see that he's sort of oversaturating this wood line, And he's even dropping Vos here. So I'm not 100% convinced this is the way that Yo should be playing this. I think if he actually ends up walling here, he might have just gone for this wood line and wall like this. That would have also made sense. I like how he's sending out some wills for the hunt though. That's something that I always appreciate players doing. It's a bit of an extra food for you, as TaToH gets the barracks up here, and the stable will probably come up around this area. TaToH's gonna fall back and push in some deer now that he has scouted the opponent's base. And here comes the stable from our red player. He didn't really bother walling that much, whereas for Yo, it looks like he's gonna do some walling over here at the end. And he's gonna play a pretty small base here. It's definitely an odd-shaped base, but it makes some sense. The only problem is that you only have one wood line here, so you are gonna have to expand here eventually, because otherwise you will be in trouble. Stable coming in as well for Mr.Yo, so we're going to see standard Chinese scouts play here as well. Chinese will probably either switch into archers in feudal and just go crossbows in castle, or continue with cavalry, going for knights and then camels in castle age. Whereas for Huns, they have their opportunity to switch into archers in feudal and then go crossbows, cav archers, or delay that archer switch until castle age and just go for straight cav archers with triple ranges. We haven't talked about these two players, by the way, in this tournament, because one thing that we need to consider is that these two players both had pretty good performances in this tournament so far. Mr.Yo defeated Dogao in the previous round 3-1, whereas for TaToH, 3-2 win against MBL in a very, very close set that I just uploaded to YouTube, as we have a bit of a fighting happening over here. I'm gonna rewind that just because I was looking at Wikipedia while I was discussing this, but nothing special. TaToH comes in here with two scouts, yoinks a villager, and then he is gone. So that's the first villager casualty of the game, as probably it's not the last in this one. Votes are slowly coming up for Mr.Yo, and he's expanding a little bit more. He has horse color, plus the Chinese bonus on his farms, whereas on the other side, TaToH also has horse color in. Backdoor, thank you so much for the 4 months of resub, I appreciate it a lot, welcome back. So, for now it looks like TaToH is playing super small walls, just walling off his lumberjacks, and that's basically it. But with Yo being fully walled, TaToH will most likely stop making scouts here, because there is no point making scouts anymore if your opponent is fully walled like that. He is fully walled. Whereas for TaToH, he's wide open, so TaToH has to make some decisions here. The danger that TaToH is facing is that if Yo adds archers, his wood lines are gonna be suddenly very open. As long as Yo doesn't have archers, it's not really a problem, and TaToH can just sit behind a couple of spearmen and his walls, and he's gonna be all good. So, for now it looks like Yo is just focusing on Castle Age, and you see, he's going to start sending villagers to gold at 11 farms. That is a clear signal that he doesn't want to invest into more scouts. Usually when you go 11 farms, we're talking about 3-4 scouts made in feudal. If you make something like 6-ish scouts, you go for like 13-14 farms, and if you go for more than 6 scouts, you go something like 15, 16, 17 farms. So 11 farms is a clear indication that Yo is also done making scouts here. And you see that he's not queuing up anything. For TaToH, he's doing the exact same thing. He's got 12 farms, same approach. He's not gonna make any more scouts unless absolutely necessary, but his game plan is done with scouts, going for a blacksmith here. And the two players should have a pretty even castle age time. Nice fight over here from Mr.Yo, takes the hill, and I think that Spearman was fighting downhills for a while, so this was definitely an uncomfortable fight for TaToH here, as Yo is going to start switching into archers, as you would expect. Whereas for TaToH, he's got the 2 buildings and I don't see a range just yet, so the earliest time we're going to see any ranged unit from TaToH will be in the Castle Age. Most likely. The scouts are still alive here, but they're being chased down by the ones of TaToH. You might find the will kill here though, and that's a very good value for those leftover scouts. Evens out the villager KD, now it's 1-1, as the scouts are now disengaging. They still pack a punch, so they might be able to intercept one more villager, but TaToH is just gonna try to trap them. and eventually he shouldn't lose no more villagers. It looks like Yo is gonna click up slightly faster. TaToH has to rush up a market because he's a little too low on food and he's floating some gold, so he probably wants to buy 100 food, and indeed that's the case. And with that, he's on the way towards Castle Age with a 30 seconds deficit, and that's double ranges. We all know which direction this is going, and it's one word. It's actually two. Cavalry Archers. Now this is the new patch, so the Cav Archers frame delay has been increased a tiny bit, so they're not as good as they are used to be, but still, Huns are Huns, and TaToH could easily get a decent amount of Cav Archers out. I think he could technically afford producing on triple ranges even, but I think he wants to add the eco behind this one. Nope, that's the third range. I like that approach. I think if you are going straight Cav Archers, you have to have 3 ranges, because otherwise you would just get overrun by crossbows or camels or anything like that. You need to have good numbers of Cav Archers fast, otherwise you would just get overrun. TaToH's gonna spot the archers. Important piece of information coming in here for him. He now knows that Yo is going crossbows. What am I even looking at? That's not even 3 ranges, that's 4. Now, I am struggling to see how TaToH could afford producing on 4 ranges. But, you know, there is nothing like too big ambition. TaToH can have dreams, and he does have them, to be honest, right now. It looks like the archers will fall back over here, because TaToH finds a way to pick off 1 or 2 of them. That's very good value for the red player here. Being able to pick off 1 or 2 archers for the value of those crossbows is absolutely enormous in this one. So, 4 ranges coming in, and that is basically the key for TaToH to get those Cav Archers out fast. He's missing Bodkin Arrow though, because he doesn't have the gold, so he gets padded archer armor first to come in, and now he cancels it. So it's gonna be Bodkin Arrow after all. Archer armor already coming in here for Mr.Yo. He's got a couple of crossbows here, but it's only 5 crossbows against 4 Cav Archers, so it's not like TaToH's numbers are that bad over here. And the Cav Archers actually pack a much bigger punch than crossbows do, so this is definitely an okay fight here for TaToH. He's trying to delay it as much as possible until he brings back his scout for a bullet sponge, until he grabs a Bodkin Arrow, and then he's gonna try to take that fight. He will probably even take the hill here. Yo is trying to do the exact same thing. TaToH trying to cut off in front of him. And it looks like it's gonna be an even trade of units here for the time being, but that should favor Mr.Yo, because he's already bringing the next wave of crossbows. TaToH continuously pumping out Cav Archers though, and it looks like he's even finding resources to get a university up for ballistics. This is getting scary for Mr.Yo, because those Cav Archer numbers are steadily increasing. It's up to 6. And with ballistics, they certainly will become much more devastating. Yo opts to go for the eco-heavy approach, so he's going for a second TC and not university for ballistics, as TaToH's woodline here will be exposed to a crossbowman in a matter of moments. So far, it looks like TaToH's unaware of those crossbows coming his way, but soon he will be in for a nasty surprise. He has the university, but he can't afford ballistics because he has to continuously produce Cav Archers over here. And I think Yo is just waiting for those Cav Archers to leave. See? He's dragging away the Cav Archers with the knight, and he's waiting for the opportunity to move in. That's a very, very smart move from Yo. And it looks like TaToH's gonna realize that in time, no villagers will be lost. And now those crossbows are in a bit of a trouble. Because the thing is that the Cav Archers are the ones deciding which fight to take. So they can just chase down those crossbows whenever they want to, and it looks like TaToH's gonna split his forces, send a couple of Cav Archers towards the base of Yo here. Yo has a pretty significant eco lead now, 5 villagers plus Boso is nothing to be ashamed of. But Huns are Huns, and that's not something that should be forgotten. What I don't understand is that TaToH is playing very heavy on military. 4 ranges, but he's not selling his stone. I've thought that he's saving his stone because he wants to add at least 1 TC, but he obviously can't afford producing 4 ranges, grabbing stuff like ballistics, and also add additional TCs. And in this case, I believe it would have been a better idea just to sell your stone and, you know, be done with it. Anyways, the Cav Archers are now coming in. There is no overchop here for Yo, as the crossbows will hit TaToH's goldmine. That's absolutely beautiful for Yo. But Yo has no ballistics, which means that he's unable to pick off any villagers so far. And that might be the first one coming in. So, really, so far there was not a single villager kill by these crossbows because they're lacking ballistics. Now, Yo is now diving in, and I think that it's a little bit too premature from TaToH to send the vills back, because now the crossbows will just focus down the vills. The crossbows know exactly that they would die to the cav archers, so all they have to do is just focus down vills. Still, TaToH's cav archer numbers are increasing dramatically, and it's becoming more and more scary. What Yo is doing, however, is pretty nice. He just needs to reinforce his walls, maybe even go for stone walls. Just make sure TaToH cannot get through his walls, because as long as TaToH cannot get inside the Yo's base, Yo is just going to outboom him, plain and simple. So, next up, oh, lion! Lion! That's the lion dead. Did you see that? The lion just went down over there. That was majestic. Right, it's not lion going down, it's the vill. Because that was a low HP vill and bumped into a lion. Very unfortunate there for TaToH. Any news when the Delicious Show match is going to be as for the 4 remaining games? No idea. I don't have any information on that. So currently TaToH is the one playing a very, very army-heavy approach, but he needs to start actually doing damage to Mr.Yo, because so far Yo has lost 1 villager in this entire game, and he's booming on 3 TCs, almost ready to drop a castle. What I like about the fact that Yo is ready to drop a castle is that a siege push, like a cav archer mangonel push, wouldn't do that much either, because defensive castle would hold that one as well. Now Yo is going for elite skirms. The problem Yo is facing is that he's on a timer with gold. Keep that in mind. This gold is running out, this gold is already being consumed, and this one is wide open for raiding. So this might be a gold denial attempt here by TaToH, as it looks like the 2 armies will pass each other. The villager will spot the crossbows here. I am fairly certain that the villager knows he's being chased. Now he knows. So let's see if TaToH is sending his army back. Indeed, he does. So he's gonna clean up the entire army of Mr.Yo over there. Now he's pushing with mangonels. It's tricky for Yo because he needs a castle, but this castle is not perfect for Yo. It's not going to protect this gold mine enough. A castle here would have been great, but Yo just lost that part of the map, so that is a little bit more problematic as the cav archers pop out. Shouldn't Yo have gone TC on his main gold? I think yes. He wanted to TC his wood line first, and then the other TC went for another wood line, so I guess because he has limited amount of wood to work with, he TC'd wood lines, but indeed, that leaves that primary gold very exposed, and now TaToH has a scary amount of cav archers. 32 of them are out there, as Yo will have to settle with a mangonel defense. He's got 24 villagers advantage, but keep it in mind that Yo has 14 idols right now, so the fact that this TC is getting pushed and a bunch of vills are garrisoned and idle means that despite the fact that Yo technically has the better eco in numbers, the idle time sort of compensates TaToH for that quite a bit. Nice mangonel shot there from TaToH, catching the edge of that group. As the cav archers will still try to bash their way in, it's impossible to get through these walls though. So yeah, the best bet for TaToH would be to try and loop around here and hit the back of that wood line. That is 1 mangonel going down there from Mr.Yo. Mr.Yo's army is much harder to micro with his mangonels and skirms, and TaToH, it looks like he's going to trade off mangonels to mangonels here. That's the end result, basically. 53 vills compared to 78, but as I said, Yo has so many idols, and what's even bigger is that Yo isn't noticing that his villagers on the gold are idle. Yo has 4 on gold only, and that is a massive deficit. He's now going for this gold mine, but as I said, I'm not sure how long he can actually protect this. He's probably gonna try getting a castle up here. Like, the idea is most likely that he wants to take down the mangonels, push up with the skirms, and drop a castle, like, right here, right now. And that could be a possibility, because TaToH's Siege Workshop is pretty far away. If Yo wants a castle, this is the moment to drop it, and I think that if this castle goes up, Yo has the game. Because Yo is just going to outboom TaToH from that point on. Heavy blow also coming in here for Mr.Yo. Keep in mind that Arabia is a map where Yo lost against the Gao. That was the only game that Yo lost against the Gao, and there's the castle I was talking about. And I don't think that TaToH has the ability to stop it without siege. And if that castle goes up, I just simply don't think that Yo's eco is something that TaToH can match up with. TaToH is just not going for a second TC, but it is a 31 villagers deficit. Here comes another Mangonel from TaToH, but it's gonna end up being a nice one-for-row trade. Another Mangonel comes in here for TaToH. The problem is that he's too late now with this push. By the time this is materializing, his opponent is sitting back chilling behind two castles, getting ready to click into Imperial, and you are gonna have the Elite Skirms coming out, and Elite Skirms should be able to deal with this one pretty nicely. Just go for Elite Skirms, maybe even just switch to Cavaliers is also an option to Mr.Yo here, but he can stick with Elite Skirms for the time being, or switch back into Arbalest could also work. Basically, anything he does in Imperial is gonna be superior to what TaToH can do in Castle Age here. Yo is still on a timer with the gold, but that's not a super serious timer. He's got some gold to mine over here, and he's mostly going for skirms, so he doesn't need a huge amount of gold right now. It looks like it's gonna be stables, and I wonder if it's Light Cav or Cavalier. Because there's a chance it's gonna be Cavalier, because that's the power unit. On the other hand, there's a chance it's gonna be Light Cav, because he kind of feels like he's running out of gold. And if it's just Light Cav, that gives a window for TaToH to potentially get back into this game. Because it is gonna be 4 TCs now for TaToH. If he's given time, he's gonna be able to reboom. As if this castle goes up, it's game over for TaToH. He cannot actually deny that gold any longer, and with gold, Yo is just gonna go for Cavalier, and TaToH will have no tools to stop that. Or maybe even Heavy Camel is an option for Yo here. Against Castle Age Cav Archers, Heavy Camel with the defense upgrades in Imp should be able to steamroll it. I guess we're soon going to get an answer. So, TaToH has a scary force of Cav Archers, but Yo is defending the way he should. Double layer walls and just preventing those Cav Archers from running into his base. So, now that the castle is up and Yo's got gold income, TaToH is trying to reboom, but it is a 30 villagers deficit right now. The skirmishers might easily go down here to the Mangonels. Yo is going to react, and once again, TaToH comes in to try and raid, but Yo knows exactly how to defend against this one. Once again, great defense, and it is going to be Cavalier, which is, I think, the good choice here for Yo. TaToH's chance here is very, very slim, to be honest. He's trying to get to Imperial. So if Yo isn't pushing fast enough, there's a chance TaToH gets to Imp and then Heavy Cav Archer could still save the day. But yeah, at this point TaToH just taps out. Because he probably knows that, hey, Yo is fully walled, I cannot get into his base. And under no circumstance should Yo allow TaToH to get to Imp. That's a 3 minutes timer, then the upgrades. By that time, Yo should have like 20 Cavalier out and a forward castle on this hill. And then TaToH's got no shot at dealing with that. Swift strike from Mr.Yo over here as that is going to be the next step. Stramper, thank you so much for the 8 months of Prime sub. Welcome back. I appreciate that as well. We're going back to the second game immediately. As I said, I'm trying to catch up with the live feed because, you know, they started this when the previous set was going. So let's just try to speed things up here and proceed on to the next one. Mr.Yo with Persians on the left side in blue. The right side will be Japanese for TaToH in red. We're on the first home map of TaToH, which is 4 lakes. His other home map was Golden Swamp, so he's saving his stronger home map for a later time, as it seems. As we're gonna have a fairly defendable base for our red player TaToH. Nice gold mine, easy vulnerability. He's technically in between 2 pawns, so he can choose whichever he wants to take, which is a rare thing to see. Whereas Yo's base is kind of open from the right side, all the golds and stones are set up together, and the berries are also on the front. Not a lot of good wood lines to work with, so I think the map generation gods aren't really favoring Mr.Yo in this one so far. Oh yeah, I was muted. I was muted. Oops. Sorry for that. What I was saying is that TaToH is definitely the underdog of this set, and Yo should be the favorite. But it's not like Yo is a decisive favorite and TaToH has no chance. I would say 75-25 chance is what I'm giving to Yo and TaToH respectively. And yeah, I think I still had sound when I actually explained the maps, so that is not gonna be a problem. Looks like TaToH's gonna choose the right-hand side pawn, which is probably the safer one because it's further away from Mr.Yo. Yo was pushing in deer so far, has the dock up as well, and we are gonna have the fishing ships popping out right now. So, oh. Okay, they just fixed themselves. They just fixed themselves. But anyways, let's focus on the games now. So, we have Fishing You coming in on the right side for TaToH. The reason why I'm actually, you know, a little bit disappointed when I'm seeing 4 lakes as the map is because the start of the game is always the same. So, really, it's a little bit of a underwhelming and boring start in Dark Age for 4 lakes. It looks like there's a storm coming, so if the stream suddenly goes away and I disappear, it's because internet dies. Let's hope that it's not gonna be the case. Anyways, it looks like TaToH's gonna poke around, see if he can actually get a villager snipe here on the Fisher Lady, but that's not going to be the case. And on the other side, it looks like we already have Loom coming in for TaToH, so he's gonna click up 1 villager earlier than his opponent does. 20 wheels and 19 wheels, respectively, for the click up. And we will see what TaToH has on his mind. He also managed to lame 1 goat from Mr.Yo over here, and Yo's scout is pretty far away, so Yo won't be able to get that back. And now Yo is coming in with a villager. Question, does Yo know that TaToH's pond is on the right? I think he does. Yeah, he does. So Mr.Yo is gonna loop all the way around here for what will be a sneaky dock in this corner, I believe. That's a smart idea from Yo. And the reason why that could be a smart idea is because TaToH is probably expecting a sneaky dock to come from this side, and that's not gonna be the case. Meanwhile, it looks like TaToH is not gonna have a sneaky dock on Yo's pond, instead just goes for the pond over here. And indeed, Yo will sneak all the way past, and he's just gonna drop over here. So, TaToH looks like he's opening Man-at-Arms, something that's pretty conventional with Japanese over here. And considering that Mr.Yo has seen the barracks foundations, I think he knows that the Man-at-Arms are coming, though he hasn't really wrought his wood lines just yet. So there is definitely a chance for those Men-at-Arms, or soon-to-be Men-at-Arms, to do damage. Here's the dock coming in, and TaToH will probably be completely unaware of this one. Now, he's got the Japanese fishing ships, which definitely helps quite a bit at just containing the damage and surviving until the relief force comes in. But it's not ideal for TaToH that he is completely unaware of this dock, and you see that he's trying to get some fishing done over here to see if there's a sneaky dock coming from this side, but it's coming from the other side. It's very much hidden. TaToH's gonna wait until the Man-at-Arms upgrade kicks in, and in the meanwhile, we are gonna have Mr.Yo getting those walls up, so I don't think that TaToH can do that much damage, although there is no villagers to jump into the TC here, so they might actually try running past, not with that archer range coming up now. TaToH has actually managed to get the Southern Lake, and now he's getting some fishing eco set up there as well. Man-at-Arms looks like they are ready to hit the gold mine over here. Yo is gonna play with archers, and Yo pops out the first fire galley to start pushing TaToH's fishing eco. TaToH immediately reacts and goes for a fire galley, but he's housed, so he is gonna have a little bit of a delay over there. And I would think that this villager will try to make a second dock soon, because TaToH needs to win the water on this pond. Man-at-Arms trying to get into the gold mine of Mr.Yo. That's not gonna happen though. I feel like sneak dogs are uber meta right now. Why don't players do more to avoid it? That's a question I keep asking myself. I don't know. I really don't know. They are trying to get their scout in to see if there's a forward villager coming in, but yeah, it's very awkward that many players just easily allow their opponent to get a sneaky dock upon them. And obviously, it might be too big of an investment to wall off the entire side, especially when it's so wide open, but oftentimes your pawns are well wallable. For example, as we have TaToH's Fishing Eco getting annihilated here, if TaToH went for a sneaky dock here, Yo would have no idea, and all Yo had to do is wall like this. It's an investment, sure enough, but this would guarantee that there is no sneaky dock coming up here. The only reason why Yo can be happy is because TaToH decided to go for the southern pond, which is uncontested, instead of going for an aggressive dock on Yo's pond. And with that, now TaToH's Fishing Eco is gone, meaning that the villager count is dead even, but Yo has Wheelbarrow and TaToH does not. TaToH might find the villager kill here, which would be a massive blunder from Yo. Come on, Yo. How did he allow that to happen? Why was a house here so necessary that he pretty much had to send out a villager when the men-at-arms were around? That was so avoidable here. TaToH was setting up Fishing Eco on the south, but now that Yo has control of the water on the right side, we might just see some fishing ships from him on the right as well. Looks like TaToH's just gonna wall himself here on the right side because he's probably afraid of this forward villager doing other nasty things, like moving in here and getting a forward archer range out or something like that. TaToH still has much better food count than Mr.Yo, which means that there's a chance that we're going to see TaToH beating Yo to Castle Age and just going for knights here, or even crossbowmen. Considering he's double ranged, it would probably be crossbowmen. And the storm has arrived. Yay! Talking about sneaky docks, there is another one over here on the south, and Yo is also dropping one on the north. So he's gonna have docks on all 4 ponds, and that's going to pay off in the long run, like massively, with the fishing economy. But yeah, TaToH is dead. I thought that TaToH was just gonna try to beat Yo to Castle Age and just steamroll him on land before the water control actually becomes a thing, but that's not the case. At this point, Yo is pushing TaToH back on land, and with TaToH potentially losing this Fishing Eco as well, nice move from TaToH to lure this fire galley into this corner and just let the other 3 fishing ships live a little longer. Still, Yo has untouched Fishing Eco here, he's gonna have untouched Fishing Eco on the north, whereas TaToH has already lost a bunch of fishing ships and he's about to lose a couple more here as well. Castle Age is coming in for TaToH though, and that is a massive power spike to consider. +1 defense is now in for Yo, so he might be content to take this fight. And remember that with the Fishing Eco that Yo has, he's gonna be able to catch up in Castle Age times fairly well. TaToH also sold his stone to be able to click up, so part of the reason why he's able to click up is because he was able to sell his stone, something that Yo hasn't done so far. Meanwhile, Yo is getting housed for a bit of a moment, as the archers and skirms will try to push TaToH's only wood line, I believe. Indeed, that's the only wood line of TaToH over here, with the archers and skirms. That's a hole, right? Nope, there is no hole. There is actually a tree that was chopped down partially over here. I think TaToH thought it's a hole as well, but it's actually not the case. Nonetheless, I like how TaToH is sending forward archers, because that's exactly what you want. Have a couple of crossbows close to the opponent's base when Castle Age hits. But guess what? Yo is going full feudal here, and he is about to intercept those archers. He is about to intercept the archers over here, and sure enough, TaToH's gonna be in Castle Age, but TaToH's not gonna have any army here. He has nowhere to go with these archers. The scouts don't have any upgrades on them, but I mean, the archers still have to shoot, and when they stop to shoot, the skirmishers will catch up to them. TaToH's gonna have a 3 minutes advantage into Castle Age, but that doesn't matter. This is castle into GG, and Yo takes game number 2 over here. Very, very swift strike over here as we are gonna have game number 3 coming up. Once again, we're not gonna spend a lot of time on this game because, you know, I want to catch up with stuff. But we're going to the second home map of TaToH over here. The previous game was pretty straightforward, I would say. It was TaToH losing control over all his pawns, whereas his opponent, Yo, had the fishing eco intact for the entire game, so you could just overrun him with feudal age units before TaToH reached castle age in this one. So we are gonna have Byzantines for Mr.Yo on the right side in blue, whereas on the left side, Britons for TaToH will be the civilization. This is TaToH's favorite map by far, so that is not something that should be underestimated. As bad as the previous game was, that's a pretty standard map for Yo to play on as well. Whereas this map for TaToH is probably his all-time favorite. So we're gonna have him on the left as Britons in red, a civilization that's very good at defending the middle. They do have a decent naval play as well in case TaToH wants to fight on water. Whereas for Mr.Yo, he is gonna have Byzantines, which has some good answers to Britons. Like Byzantine skirms is definitely a good answer to Britons over here. Whereas on the other side, as I said, the Britons will have a probably much better economy throughout the entire game. They'll have the extra range on their crossbows and then their orbs. They will have werewolf traps to play with. And holy water buffaloes! Holy water buffaloes! Now that is what we call a lame. That is 5 water buffaloes and a rhino being stolen. Talk about a lame. I think at this point TaToH's gonna be more than happy to just reclaim his water buffaloes here. That was basically all the herdables for TaToH. He's going to reclaim 4 of them, but if that lame goes through, I think Yo wins that game ASAP, because TaToH wouldn't have had Dark Age food income. And now TaToH might actually be trying to get a lame in. I think Yo could still just kill those herdables. Like that could also be a possibility. Just kill those herdables and pretty much destroy at least some of the food income for TaToH. That didn't work out. And I have to say that TaToH reacted just in time. I think it was the smart decision for him to try and save the water buffaloes, because 6 water buffaloes is much more valuable than 1 rhino. Now, here comes TaToH, and he's not shying away from laming either, as we're gonna have his attempt at blocking the wheel that's going to fail, and it looks like he's not going to counter lame. I think the reason why he didn't counter lane is because he saw that Yo scout is around, as both players are going for what seems to be pre-mailed rushes here. For both players, TaToH actually gets all his water buffaloes back, something that's really valuable at this point for him. So, we are gonna have barracks coming in from both players. The difference is that TaToH does not know about the barracks of his opponent just yet. Yo does. So TaToH doesn't know there is a barracks coming, whereas Yo is already aware of this one. So he's gonna be prepared. So at this point, it looks like neither of the players are going for a dock, because we're seeing berries coming in for TaToH. Whereas for Mr.Yo, I would assume that he will eventually go for a dock. But there's a chance this wants to be a Droshfast Castle. Droshfast Castle to fire ships could be an interesting idea for Yo. Then TC the middle and sort of just play a defensive game holding the middle after that. Is TaToH going to be able to click up with a Drush missing a boar? Yeah, I assume so. He's got some huntables here. You can always click up. It's a matter of when you click up. Because he will probably have to add a lot more farms. So even with these huntables, you will have to go for like 8 or so farms for TaToH. This mill is actually very nice for Yo, by the way, because it is right next to the huntables. In fact, At this point, I think Yo should start with the Huntables and not the berries here, because that would be a nice extra food for him. Looks like he's starting with the berries, nonetheless, as the militias from TaToH are coming in here. Looks like Yo got caught off guard a little bit here, because he's not done with the wars just yet, as he's sending back his own militias for defense. He must have seen those militias, right? Yeah, he did. He's just gonna quick wall his villas right now. There is no more holes on this vote line. Everything is all good, and these rushes will just probably cancel each other, which is, I think, an advantage for Yo, because he's the one with the extra boar. And that is a pretty considerable thing to do. Looks like TaToH will change approach, and you are gonna have a dock up, so he's gonna do some fishing here to compensate for the lost boar. Do water buffalo count as sheep for Britain's bonus? Yes, all of the herdables count as Britain's, like, sheep. So water buffaloes, cows, goats, llamas, whatever, they all count towards the British bonus. One of the reasons why this map is good with Britons, other than the fact that you can control the middle very nicely with a good defensive civ like Britons, is that you are guaranteed to have water buffaloes on this map, I believe. And water buffaloes contain 150 food compared to sheep that are 100 only. So you get an even bigger benefit from the British bonus than you would compare to, let's say, Arabia. So indeed, Yo is going to switch focus and just take the Ibex. Nice idea from him. If you can take this Ibex this easily, you might as well do it. And I think TaToH will send in the militia so that he can actually kill those Ibexes. I'm fairly certain he will try to do that. Because he sees that Yo is taking them, Yo reacts in time, and this is why Yo is shooting it. So if the militia is killing the deer or the Ibex, then it's going to go down to 0 food. If the villagers kill it, it's going to start rotting from 140, but you will have at least some food remaining in it. So this is why Yo shot the Ibexes right now, because it's still better to have 140 food that's slowly rotting away or decaying compared to having 0 food on them. That's exactly what you should do when a militia is approaching to kill your huntables. You should just shoot it yourself. So, as things stand, you see TaToH is clicking up at 31 eco, but part of that is fishing eco, so this is how he's compensating for his lost boar. Still, you see that he had to add quite a lot of farms here to work with. Whereas on the other side, Yo's gonna have a pretty neat little fast castle here. 28 villas with Byzantines is nothing to be ashamed of. It's actually pretty fast. Looks like Yo is gonna lose his scout though. And now the question becomes, what is Yo gonna do in castle or feudal age? Is he gonna have range and blacksmith, or is he gonna go market, blacksmith, and then go for docks? We'll figure out in a moment. There's the blacksmith, and that's a range. So we're going to see probably preemptive skirms even from Yo. I can see archers being a thing, but considering that TaToH is probably thinking about the same, going straight skirms might not be that bad of an idea for Yo. Like, opening with a couple of straight skirms, then coming for the villager and dropping a siege workshop here is definitely something that you can consider here. So that's something that could be done here for Yo. His food count will be just enough to click up, although it looks like he's gonna have to idle his TC for a split second to do that. In fact, he grabs Loom even, so that he can actually click up. But fairly clean fast castle over here for our Byzantine player, and the Loom was missing from that villager, so that's why TaToH committed to trying to pick it off, but Loom just came in, so Yo was able to keep that villager alive for the time being. TaToH is not far away from clicking up either, but he needs a bit of an extra goal, and he's going for a stable. This is something that we have seen very frequently on Hidden Cup, going for a stable and going for like a knight and siege push. This was usually done with Celts on Hidden Cup. This time it's gonna be Britons, and considering that Yo is indeed going for a skirmisher opening here, this might work out. Because if you think about it, TaToH is sort of outplaying Yo in terms of game plan here. So, Fire Galley is popping out as well. Obviously, Byzantines will have the advantage with that, and there is docks coming in here for Mr.Yo alongside a couple of outposts as well. But yeah, the skirmishers won't do much because TaToH's gonna have knights over here, and the villager may soon turn into human barbecue. Nope, just passing, I guess. So full wars coming in here for Yo. He's gonna have a slightly better castle age timing, which means that he could get a couple of fire ships before his opponent can get the fire ship upgrade himself. The scout from TaToH goes down to a spearman of Yo, so important piece of information will be missing. And don't underestimate the Byzantine spearmen here. They're cheap and they have bonus damage against ships, so they can take it down pretty easily. As it looks like Yo is gonna go for his own stable, and we will have a couple of camels out. The reason why is because he sees the stable, so he's gonna open camels. In this one, something that TaToH doesn't know about. If you look at TaToH's POV, he doesn't see the stable, which means that TaToH will be caught off guard a little bit by the camels. In this one, camels are known as the ships of the desert, and these are the ships of the water over here. Taking the fight, no war galley upgrade just yet for our blue player over here. Nice demo shot for TaToH, but sort of an inefficient one. I don't think that it was worth it that much to suicide one demo for one fire galley here, especially if TaToH ends up losing his own fire galley. One fishing ship is already down for TaToH, and a couple more could be a thing. Second TC on the way for Yo, as TaToH is going to add TC number 2 and 3. Monastery coming in as well for TaToH here, so he wants to get a couple of conversions on those camels. As things stand, both players still have an intact fishing economy, but I think that TaToH is closer to losing it than Yo is. Obviously, at this point, TaToH is leveraging the power of Britons having cheaper town centers. That's why he's able to afford free pretty easily. But TaToH is going to end up losing his fishing eco, so that's going to be a slight economical advantage for Mr.Yo here. So, we are gonna have Boso coming in here for Mr.Yo, as TaToH already has Boso and Heavy Plow at the same time. So it seems like TaToH just wants to sit back and boom, and to me this is very much like how we saw Hidden Cup evolve over the rounds, because at the beginning, people tried to play aggressive, but then they started to figure out that it's better to just sort of wall yourself up and just boom behind it. So that's exactly what TaToH is doing. He's mining stone as well. Makes me wonder if he will eventually think about the castle in the middle once he has the chance to move up. Yo, for now, is 3 TCs as well, so he's keeping pace with TaToH. And I think for Yo, the situation should be that he should use that early Imperial that he could get with Byzantines, go for early Arbalest and Bombard Cannon and steamroll TaToH. That's probably his best bet, because after that, TaToH is gonna have the extra range on the Arbalest, and that's gonna work even better for TaToH. So I think that the window for Yo to target is his early Imperial Power Spike, coupled with a forward castle here, Arbalest Bombard Cannon, and then steamroll TaToH's base before TaToH can get to Imperial. That's probably your best bet. It's hard to pull off though, and it looks like TaToH's gonna be under a little bit more pressure here from Yo. Yo comes in with some mangonels on the right side, so Yo wants to sort of play this passive-aggressive game where he's applying some pressure to TaToH, force him to defend, force some idle time, but also boom behind, and that's exactly what we're seeing from Mr.Yo. Possessing a free villager's lead right now, but missing Heavy Plow. And with neither of the players having wheelbarrow, that villager lead is actually a net villager lead right now. Now, TaToH was completely unprepared, apparently, for this mangonel push, because you see that he's just now scrambling to get his stable. This is not a stable, this is a siege workshop. So you're gonna have a siege workshop here for TaToH to defend. He also popped a 4th town center right now on another stone mine, and he's mining stone pretty relentlessly. So, as I said, a castle could be on the horizon for him, especially now that he's getting pushed by 3 mangonels. So there's a chance we'll see a defensive castle here. Keep in mind that if you look at TaToH's resources, 2 stone mines and a gold mine are here. So this is a very, very good angle for Yo to push. And I have a feeling that we're going to see Redemption even coming in here from Mr.Yo. He's grabbing Sanctity right now, but that could easily be followed up with Redemption, because TaToH's Mangonel defense could really struggle against Redemption Monks here, as that's a nice split from Yo. Mangonel is now coming in, will take down the Mangonel here as well. Very nicely done by Yo. And currently TaToH has to commit a lot of wood to repair this TC, and he isn't able to keep this up. This TC is going down here unless anything changes here for TaToH. And it looks like this push is actually working out for Yo, because he can still keep pace economically with TaToH, but he's definitely inflicting significant damage on the opponent, I would say. Let's see if we're gonna have Redemption though for Yo. He currently doesn't have the gold for it, but Redemption Monks would make so much sense here. So looks like TaToH's actually massing Spearmen, but that's not gonna be that super useful here. He's massing the Spearmen because he wants to deal with those camels and then send in the Knights to snipe the Mangonels. Now that is a beautiful shot there from TaToH. Gets 1 kill on the Mangonels. On the other hand, there is still 3 of them, so it's not like this is gonna be enough. Another one taken down here though, and it looks like this last half a minute of Mangonel Micro was a little bit too potato from Yo, but Yo, the demo, I mean, the idea was beautiful. The idea was beautiful. He definitely would have gotten some star points for that, as he dives into Sniper Mangonel, trades it off to an otherwise cheap Byzantine Camel. TaToH is known for using his demos on this map very aggressively and very frequently. This time it was Yo who almost got a very nice demo connection. And this is the moment where we have to highlight that TaToH is not on gold. TaToH is not on a single bit of gold. He's making Spearmen right now, but look at this. Redemption Monks and Imperial Age coming in for Mr.Yo. Redemption Monks would basically be a good answer to the defensive siege weapons of TaToH. And for Yo, at this pace, this might just be Bombard Cannons right away. And get a couple of Bombard Cannons, start taking down TCs. Yo is also getting close to dropping a castle. And since TaToH is defending here, and Yo has perfect vision over the middle, look at this. Yo knows exactly that TaToH is not moving out here. So Yo has all the tools he needs to get a castle up in the middle, and I would love that. Apply the pressure from this side, force TaToH to defend here, and behind that one get a forward position, a castle in the middle, to make sure that TaToH cannot move in there, even if he's able to defend against this one. TaToH now possesses an 11 villagers lead, but he's gonna be beaten to Imperial by a quite significant margin, as it looks like we're getting some Scorpions out against the Pikemen, and a few Arbalasts will also hit the field soon. Here comes the Monk with Redemption, trying to get conversion on the Mangonel, switches target to the Camel, and with that, TaToH just resigns. Sag. This is not... Wait, no, it's a drop, it's a drop, alright. Hold on, everybody, this is not a GG, this is a drop. This is a drop here. So... cancel that. I just had to look at the caster's chat for that, because, like, I would have imagined TaToH just, you know, saying, okay, whatever, I don't have the tools to stop this, but I was like, are we sure? There is a second part to this one. The reason why, or the fact that it was just now posted, means that we're actually soon catching up with them. So let's jump back into this game. After we caught up, we're actually gonna be able to evaluate things. But here we go. So... basically, the restore was at the time where we had this Monk fight. Apparently, there is one conversion, and the Camel is now trying to dive in to snipe the Monk, and it's gonna be unsuccessful. Oh, that hurts so much for TaToH. He lost both Camels and didn't kill a single Monk over there. And now the Pikemen come out. Here's the deal, though. Keep in mind that, sure enough, TaToH didn't call GG just yet, but, I mean... is he that far away from that GG? Here's the castle coming in the middle from TaToH, so he wants to get that castle in the middle, and it looks like he is getting it. We're gonna have Arbalest coming in first here for Mr.Yo, taking down most of the Spearmen. No chemistry though. I think that if you want to play it like this, you gotta get chemistry immediately, because Chemistry will allow you to get bombard cannons out as soon as possible, and that's exactly what you're aiming for. TaToH is going to get the middle. Ballistics first. That's an awkward decision, and I don't like that for Yo. I think at this point you grab chemistry, because you want bombard cannons. Without bombard cannons, you can't push this angle until the castle goes up, and it's gonna take some time until that castle goes up. This is buying precious time here for TaToH, because as things stand, there is no siege from Yo, and he could have gotten chemistry by now, and then it would be bombard cannons, and watchtowers will not stop bombard cannons, even guard towers won't. Guard towers would be able to stop mangonels here, so that's why it would have been essential to get bombard cannon as soon as possible. Here come the redemption monks, and it looks like TaToH is just gonna end up deleting the mangonel before it gets converted. Bombard cannon versus Britons, that's suicide. No, it's not. As long as the Briton player is not in Imperial Age, bombard cannons absolutely stomp Britons. So, another castle coming in here from Yo. It looks like he's switching gears. He is getting a trap out immediately, so he will try to take that castle down. Guard tower is in for TaToH, as the Arbalasts will start marching in. The problem for TaToH is that he's still not Imp, and he's not going to be an Imp in the next 4 minutes or so. Now, as long as that guard tower is standing, these villagers are not getting this castle up here, as chemistry is almost in for Yo. So he will be able to get a couple of bombard cannons out soon, but this is a bit of a doubt castle here for Mr.Yo. I really don't like how... Like, he's trying to force build this, and he's got monks to heal those vills, and eventually it's going up, but it's kind of ugly, to be honest. TaToH going for multiple docks over here as the traps start shelling his castles. He is about to click up to Imperial just now. But that is still 3 minutes, and that's gonna be a very long 3 minutes here for TaToH, I'm not gonna lie. 3 minutes, especially now that Yo can pop out bombard cannons. He's got 2 traps as well shelling that castle. I'm really unsure if TaToH can hold this one for 3 minutes. Like, sure enough, he has space to fall back to, but I feel like he's losing too much here. By the time he gets to Imperial, his eco might be completely devastated. And if he loses that castle, he's gonna have no army to protect these vills in the middle. He's trying to go for skirms as things stand, but those skirms are sort of lacking upgrades. No bracer, obviously, not even +2 defense for them. And as I said, this push is becoming scarier and scarier, as TaToH will try to send in apparently the fire ships to deal with the traps, but that's not gonna happen. The castle goes down from TaToH. Still no bombard cannons from Yo, which is tilting me quite heavily. I mean, these castle drops are nice and everything, but traps would be so much more helpful taking down buildings. And that's the Imp TC of TaToH! That's the Imp TC of TaToH, and... Uh-oh! That could be game over there. That could be game over, because Yo knows exactly TaToH has to get to Imp. When you are in such a situation that you have beaten your opponent to Imperial, you have to ensure that he is not getting up to Imperial himself. The good news for TaToH is that Yo is going to split his attention. He will target multiple TCs, because I think Yo believes this is the Imp TC, but this one is 80%, and I think in the moment that Yo sees TaToH repairing that TC, he's gonna realize that that's the Imp TC. Did you see that? In the moment he sees the repair villagers, he's going to retarget the traps, because he knows that the only reason why you repair a TC like that is because that's your Imp TC. And with that, Yo reacts lightning fast, TaToH loses his Imp TC, and Yo just sweeps TaToH here. TaToH didn't have an horrendous set, but Yo just outplayed him. This last 20 seconds, I'm gonna rewind this because this is Age of Vampires at its peak. The ability to recognize the situation. First off, you know that your opponent has to get to Imp, which means that he needs TCs for that. You are trying to take down the TCs of the opponent. You also know that this is probably not the Imp TC because it's close to a castle, so TaToH probably wouldn't have used it. Which means that either this one, the starting one, or potentially this one is the Imp TC, and you see that initially Yo set up 2 traps to shell this TC, because this is more likely to be the Imperial Age Town Center than this one. And in the very moment Yo spots that there is repair villagers over here, repairing an otherwise useless TC, he's going to retarget the traps. Because as I said, if this is not the Imperial Age Town Center, there is absolutely no reason for you to repair it. The only reason why you repair this is if this is the Imperial Age Town Center, and it was. Yo realizes that, immediately switches focus, and then there's 3 traps. So that is just a disaster there. I think the biggest problem for TaToH was that the Imp TC should have been this one, honestly. Yeah, this is a tough decision. I'm not saying that TaToH had a choice here. He has to repair because otherwise it goes down anyways to 1 trap. But if he doesn't repair, he's gonna lose that TC. But if he starts repairing, Yo is gonna see that and he's gonna take it down. At this point, TaToH had no choice of keeping that one alive. So, yeah, I feel like TaToH had to make a decision which TC to use for imping. He decided by this one. Maybe this one would have been slightly better, but as Nbrain is saying, I think like some of the TCs may have not been up when he clicked up. So maybe this wasn't an option. I'm not sure if this was an option here, to be honest. But nonetheless, this at that point, that seemed the safest town center, because it didn't seem like Yo was pushing this angle. It seemed like Yo was trapping this castle. I think TaToH was hoping that Yo was going to press on the middle and not focus down this one, but TaToH may not have had a good TC to imp with. Yo reacted very nicely. It's not like TaToH had a choice here. It was just one way to end this one, but Yo ends up stomping TaToH over here, and he's going to move into the semifinals. And indeed, even if TaToH goes up to imp, it wouldn't have mattered. He's got basically no army on the field. He's having 3 castles inside his base. He's got 9 skirms and 2 pikemen. A couple of cataphracts will steamroll that. And I mean, even if he finishes imp, these TCs take down, or these traps take down the TCs in the next 3 minutes or so, and TaToH would have had nowhere to go. He would have lost the middle, he would have lost his starting base, so it wasn't decided on the imp TC, but definitely the final nail in the coffin was losing that for TaToH. Yo moves into the semifinals.